Hello everybody and welcome back to ARC Formula 1. We are here for the 7th round of the 2025 A season. We are at the British Grand Prix at Silverstone Circuit, and we are getting ready to experience a 19-car shootout for the pole position here. We've got 2 McLarens, 2 Saubers, 2 Ferraris, 2 V-Carbs, 2 Alpines, 2 Aston Martins, 2 Red Bulls, 2 Williams, 2 Haas's, and 1 Mercedes on the grid. Of course, the one Mercedes being George Knight, the driver who won, or was on track to win last weekend before his teammate took the win out from under him after a late safety car. That teammate, Cameron Lopez, is not here this weekend due to illness. We are wishing him well for the upcoming rounds of the season, but that leaves us with a 19-car grid tonight. We've got some new faces here, and some returning drivers such as Mikey De Jong, who's here in the Williams. I believe that to be Mikey De Jong, unless this is another driver who has joined that I'm unaware of. I think this is just a changed EA name. We will find that out, of course, if a secondary Mikey De Jong joins here. With that said, we do have a couple new people here. Logan Taylor in the McLaren, another Australian, joins. And yeah, beyond that, not really much going on for new people, honestly. Just one. Oh, Sakir as well. Another new driver as well. As we will very quickly take a look at his information. That being Kane Woods from the UK. He will take over for that Alpine seat until Santi Ortiz returns. Orker F1 being the team here. But as we wait on Santi Ortiz to return, I'm sure that Kane Woods will be definitely competing at the highest ability for this team. They need a couple more points throughout the season. They currently sit in the 9th position in the constructors standings on 19 points, as we see Oliver James go to pole. Oliver James, very good race last weekend, but unfortunately unwound at the end after the safety car. He's looked set for a P3 finish, but a bad merge back onto the circuit, onto the track, caused a fairly large incident at the end of last week. Obviously, last week we had a very close finish as well, worth noting. Seeing if we can see something like that again this race. Less than a quarter of a second separating the top 2 drivers last week. Jamie Cavallini with his P2, trying his best ever finish. He's currently sitting P2 on the grid right now. So we pick up Lewis Huchin from the UK in his first qualifying, or his first attempt with us here. I believe this is also his first start. It may be his second. I cannot quite remember off the top of my head. I think he ran a couple laps at Monaco as he heads into the pits here as well. This is a driver to keep your eyes on, of course. This being Milan van der Linden. After a very strong performance in Singapore, he was driving for the Williams team, looked set to battle for victory, and it came very close, but only could manage a P2 finish. He's reserving for the Ferrari team this week, replacing Aidan McCarthy, the team owner, who's currently in the midst of a cyclone in Australia. Power out, flood warnings, wishing him well as well. Looking like a very strong last couple corners for him as he goes to the front with a 26.267. Very good lap from Milan van der Linden. The drivers who are going to end up near the top of this thing, of course, we always expect Maxime Van Averbeck, who's currently sitting in the pits right now, and George Knight also sitting in the pits right now, and to put up incredible laps. But they're not currently out there pushing, so we'll wait for them to exit the pits and make an attempt here, and ride along with them when they finally pull out of the pits. And a big development here, Maxime Van Averbeck retires. From the qualifying session, he'll be doing a last to first in this one, or at least trying. We've got word here that Mikey De Jong is loading into the session in that Mercedes seat, meaning that other Williams driver is not actually a Mikey De Jong driver here. We wait for word on who this is. And we have gotten word that this other Williams driver is Aways Kane from the UK, another driver who is new to the series, so we'll add him to the list of new drivers. Mikey De Jong will be scored as the Williams in this race, and the Kane driver in that Williams seat, which is supposed to be Mikey De Jong, will be scored as that second Mercedes seat. So try and keep that on the front of your mind here for the race, for the team standings and whatnot. Could play a bit of a role in the constructors. Beyond that, though, doesn't really change much for us watching the race here, as we still have the same lineup of people doing their thing here. Looks like we're warming tires here in the Alpine. Either that or we are very, very understeery. I'm most excited to see what George Knight's lap looks like. Obviously, he's down in P18 right now, hasn't set a lap. Looking to be a very strong lap from the Alpine through Maggots and Beckett's. We'll see if he can match his 27.117 or do better. That'd be great for him. As Pro Ultra in the RB scores a 26.426 and goes up onto the podium preliminarily as we wait for qualifying to end here. 5 minutes left. We have a yellow in Sector 1. I will be bringing up the track map so we can get an idea of what's going on here. That'll just be a yellow for a driver slowing down, cooling the tires. This could be Milan van der Linden in the Ferrari here, starting a lap. We can ride along with him. see what this lap looks like. This could be pole, as he's already on pole, but we know that these second runs tend to get faster. Very clean lap from him so far, as close to the apex as you can get. Very, very nice lap from him. But mind you, this is only Sector 1. There's a lot that can happen here. This is a fairly late apex as we come up to Brooklands and into Luffield. Get a washout here onto the curb, but not that far. He ran that pretty tight. You can run that a little wider, but it doesn't pay to go any wider there when you're that fast out of the corner. Through Cops, sweeping into Maggots, and then Beckett's, and finally Chapel. Sweeping through Stowe, and finally into Club Corner up here. See if we can break into the 25s with a phenomenal lap here. A 25.7. That lap was great from the Ferrari driver. And now we wait. We wait to see if George Knight comes out of the pits at all. We wait to see if Mikey DeJong comes out of the pits at all. And we wait to see what our other drivers here, all setting laps, can do. We still have yet to see George Knight come out of the pits here. Plenty of drivers on outlap. Xander Wiles could be one to watch. We could be looking at a front row start from both Mercedes here. Or sorry, both Ferraris here, as we see both Mercedes come out of the pits, I was about to say. Mikey DeJong trailed shortly by George Knight in 19th and 20th right now. These two drivers are both going to need to find a clear spot on the track and make sure that they don't have any issues. High stakes at the end of this. One thing I will say is you love to see a 20-car grid. It's wonderful to see this league continue to thrive, getting down to these last few moments of qualifying. As Xander Wiles goes for a clear spot on the track, the Williams undertakes him in the grass. Very interesting there. And we will ride along with Xander Wiles to see if anybody can beat his Ferrari teammate Milan van der Linden for that pole position. Milan's so confident he's retired into the pits. He's got a 1:25.759, a minute remaining here as Xander Wiles, 7th gear all the way through Farm and into these two tight corners here. Xander Wiles sweeping through Brooklands, sweeping through Luffield. The lap does seem slower than his teammates, but even if he can stick in that 6/10 area between first and second, that would be a phenomenal thing for him. Sweeping through Cops. Through Maggots, Beckett's, and Chapel. Down the hangar straight. He won't be picking up any slipstream here, but can he set a better lap than his teammate? through Stowe, washing a little wide, but perfectly on the line, braking on the curb here into the Vale chicane. And tight on the apex and club. Only a P6 for Xander Wiles. Will he make a second lap? We have no way of knowing, as we're going to be riding on with George Knight, who catches Mikey DeJong and aborts his lap in P19. Mikey DeJong with grass on the tires. This is going to be a poor lap from him as well. A disaster class for these two drivers. Mikey only goes up to 11th, and George Knight will be in last. Starting from the back of the grid with Maxime Van Averbeek, this could be a big story in this race. As Logan Taylor finishes his lap. Sorry, this seems to be a either an aborted lap or just a just the end of this thing. Oliver James finishing his lap as well. He improves, but not by much, not by enough. And that is the end of qualifying. Your pole sitter, of course, being Milan van der Linden in the Ferrari. What a great qualifying session from him. And now we wait. We wait for the race to get underway, we wait for the formation lap, and we wait for all the action to come here. You can run down through the order. We have Milan van der Linden in the pole position, followed by Oliver James, and then we have Arvin Whitaker, followed by Jamie Cavagini, the new sign-up in 5th place, that being Aways Kai. I might be pronouncing that one wrong. Xander Wiles in 6th, and we will not have enough time to go down through the top 10. Notables down in the back, of course, being the 2024 B champion George Knight and the 2023 A champion Mikey DeJong. Very notable for our two champions making up the back row of the grid.
Hello, hello.
Hello, I see I've got my buddy in the booth, Matthew Stotts, joining me for the race as we end our qualifying session.
Oh, how's it going so far?
What I will say is your mic is very loud, so we will have to...
Yeah, we have to turn that down because of, what was it, from Wednesday? I had to turn that up.
Yeah, we'll turn that one down, and we will take a look at this as we get our formation lap underway. Milan van der Linden, of course, on the pole here.
Then obviously when you get a chance, just shoot me one.
Yeah, I'll have to take a look at that in one moment here as I'm just...
Oh, yeah, good.
Just grabbing desktop audio and making sure that it's mixing well. I don't want anybody on the, anybody watching the stream's ears to bleed, of course. Okay, you just adjusted it too?
Yeah, I just adjusted it a little bit just to try and, you know.
Okay, I think we're back to last week's settings now, so I'll just turn you... I turned myself up just a touch last time as well. So, now, I'm gonna get you an invite. I'm gonna find our commentary buddy here. Matthew Stotts. Sent.
I tell you, I'm very unpredictable, unfortunately, but I'm here.
Yeah, I mean, it can't go worse than what we had at Monaco, so...
That's true, that's true.
As the drivers here round into Chapel out of Maggots and Beckett's down the hanger straight, warming the tires, of course. We got Milan van der Linden leading Oliver James, Arvin Whitaker in 3rd, Jamie Cavagini in 4th, Some new drivers, 5th and 7th. Xander Wiles 6th, Alan Edmiston 8th, 9th Ryan Messer, 10th Alexander Lopez, 11th Mikey DeJong. He'll be scored for the Williams in this race. 12th Dylan Boston, 13th Finn Baker, 14th Abdul Rahman Al Hazmi, 15th the Lewis person whose last name escapes me, but we're running out of time. Sean Reese in the Haas in 16th, 17th Logan Taylor, 18th Caden McDonald, 19th Maxime Van Averbeck with a horrible qualifying session, and 20th, the only driver who's had a worse qualifying session, George Knight. What a insane lineup for this race. Two of the fastest on the back row of this grid. You cannot ask for something more unpredictable in this one. And yet here we are, as we wait for these lights. We wait for Matthew Stotts.
Yeah, I'm gonna need, whenever everything settles in, I'm gonna need one more.
We'll try, but we have 4 red lights, 5 red lights, and we're off into turn 1 at Abbey as the drivers settle into their positions, trying to make as many positions as they can. Arvin Whitaker with a masterful start up to the lead, into Village, and then into the loop. Anybody wide? It seems there's a Williams down there with wing damage. I believe that to be Abdul Rahman Al Hazmi. Oliver James making his way up into second. Takubi, Maxime Van Averbeck, he's given himself more work to do with a 10-second penalty after severe contact with the driver ahead. George Knight all the way up to 13th. He's having a masterful start, but it has been a disaster class of a start for Maxime Van Averbeck down in 20th. He, only 4 points behind George Knight in the championship fight, will need to fight his way back to make up as many points as he possibly can as we make our way to the middle point of this season. The Williams of SSB making his way into a defensive position and now attacking the Ferrari ahead. Milan van der Linden absolutely falling down the grid here from 1st to 4th at the start of this thing. He's going to try and get back by his teammate Xander Wiles, who's made his way all the way up to 3rd from 6th. As we see contact there, I believe that being the Aston Martin, perhaps, alongside the Sauber. Maybe it was the Mercedes of Mikey DeJong, I couldn't quite tell from that angle. And Arvin Whitaker leads the first lap over Oliver James. We once again head into Abbey and into Farm again. George Knight now up to 12th place as our back 2 drivers, as I expected, Abdul Rahman Al Hazmi pitting with damage, and Maxime Van Averbeck retiring from the race, choosing not to serve that penalty, instead leaving this session.
It's gonna hurt my points.
That will absolutely hurt him in points. Very quickly, we're going to pick up Matthew Stotts as we watch this shakeout through a loading screen. Or through a translucent screen, I should say. We have a sector yellow in sector 1, that being Maxime Van Averbeck's car returning to the track as Matthew Stotts now joins, and he can join me in commentating all of the action from this race so far. We're settling into a bit of a DRS train here. It is the Ferrari of Milan van der Linden back up to the lead. He's relinquished it from Arvin Whitaker, who got absolutely blown by down the Wellington Straight under DRS. 3 cars going by him. And I am just noticing now he has damage on his front right end plate. It's missing. Was there contact? As the Williams now goes by into the lead. That Williams, of course, being one of our new drivers, SSB, also known as Aways Kane, who's leading his first lap of his ARC Formula 1 career. Unfortunate
George Knight up to 7th.
Yeah, George Knight having an absolutely insane start to this race. He's right behind the leaders. I think with Maxime Van Averbeck out of this thing, it's going to take an absolute disaster for George Knight to not win this race. Truthfully, I think he's the only one who's got the pace to take it to Milan van der Linden up here in that Ferrari, but as long as this DRS trend persists, I don't think George Knight can be stopped in this one. course, be a big points payoff for him if Maxime Van Averbeck gets 0 and George Knight gets 25. Our gap will widen to 29 points over a full race. Cameron Lopez also not here, only 1 point between those teammates pre-race. A lot can happen, as we see. George Knight setting up a move here on the Red Bull. Will he go for it into the Vale chicane? He does. He makes it a P5 position. As the Red Bull now gets eaten by Jamie Catanini, who saves it from hitting the wall.
Wow.
What an incredible save there.
That was beautiful. That was beautiful.
My goodness. I thought for sure it was game over for him. We see the other Sauber now into the pits, that being Ryan Messer. Does he have damage? Yep, the wing is being replaced on the Sauber of Ryan Messer. This will be a position gain for Abdulrahman Al-Hazmi. As Milan van der Linden is back through into the lead. George Knight up into 5th now. He'll be setting up a move on the damaged car of Arvin Whitaker.
I'm curious how long these softs can go. I'm shocked. You know, looks like maybe one of the top runners took softs to start the race. Intrigued on how they'll view that. But I mean, it looks like it's not paying off.
Well, Arvin Whitaker, of course, he's on the soft tire, but he's also the one with the end plate missing. So he, I'm not quite sure. It's going to be really helpful to know what the softs are going to do for him. George Knight tries to get by him here, setting up a move into the Vale chicane. He does not go for it. He'll choose to round off the corner here and
got a
into club.
But we get the Haas around.
The Haas around, that being Sean Reese down in 16th. He's recovering. We have a move here. The other Haas working on our new Alpine driver.
Oh! Whoa! Wow!
Slight contact as they drift into Abbey. What a move. The Alpine back down the inside and more contact.
Nah.
They will not be happy. They will not be happy with that one. Alexander Lopez will surely be thinking the stewards need to take a look at that one.
Yeah, so this is just a game of DRS now, ain't it?
Yeah, we'll be waiting here to see if George Knight can pick through this DRS train. Waiting for that soft tire, of course, to fall off. Alan Edmiston hanging around in 6th place. He was on for a pretty decent result in Spain, but fell away at the end after that incident.
Yeah, with the McLaren. It's good to see 20 cars. I mean, obviously now it's 19, but like 20 cars to start. I mean, that it feels like just out of nowhere, you know. But that's awesome. That's awesome to see. Oh, that was close.
It's been absolutely incredible as we see the Mercedes pop out from behind the Williams there. He'll need to stay with Xander Wiles up ahead. That gap was up to 9.2 tenths of a second.
Try and send it. Wow.
Edmiston can't quite get it done, and that gap's going to be... They're going to be out of the DRS as the RB pushes the Red Bull wide.
Yeah,
he lets him by.
I would have gave that up already.
He lets him by, but now they're out of DRS, so
yeah.
These guys are going to have work to do if they want to stick with him. Dylan Boston into the pits and the other Red Bull. Does he have damage, or is he pitting for another reason? He seems to be coming out well ahead of the others, so my assumption there is that that's a scheduled stop already on lap 6.
I wonder if he was the one on the hards. I wasn't paying, or hards on the softs. I wasn't paying attention. If that was what he started on.
Yeah, it could be a soft to hard strategy for him. Milan van der Linden now leading from Aways Kane in P2. I'm going to have to remember that name by the looks of the pace here. Kane through down the inside on the hanger straight here. Xander Wiles still trailing in 3rd, biding his time here. And George Knight going to be looking for the position. Remember, at Monaco, George Knight getting into the back of Xander Wiles and taking a penalty. Xander Wiles, of course, getting damaged and ending up out of the race after the contact. These two do have a history.
Pass for 6 as Jamie goes around the RB there, or V-carb, excuse
the
me.
V-carb will be struggling here on these old tires. Old tires and missing an end plate. It's going to be tough for him to recover here, and I think he'll be taking a new wing as well and dropping more positions. What he really needs, he's got the pace. What he needs is a safety car.
And we learned last week those can happen. Those can very well happen at any point and ruin anyone's race.
They sure can. We saw George Knight learn the hard way. Aston Martin and the V-carb level down here into Cops. We'll see what happens with these two side by side. We know that the V-carb won't have the downforce to hang that, but tucks in behind. Down into Maggots and Beckett's.
Wonder if a move's going to be made here. Maybe a double overtake possible from Xander. Nah.
He sticks behind his teammate.
Oh,
he makes a little bit of contact with his teammate.
Yeah. Oh, and he gets a spot right back up. Back to 30 goes.
Yeah, a little bit of contact will do that. George Knight getting into the back of Xander Wiles. Slight contact. These two again. Oh, end plate missing on George Knight's car.
Oh, it is. Oh no. You know, Xander. I think Xander just kind of like. It's just after that, you know, contact with his teammate, he probably just didn't even like fully gather himself back up, you know.
I kind of think
and it threw him off for that chicane.
I kind of think that's what happened. The seemed like he braked a little early in the chicane, and George Knight wasn't expecting it. Got into the back of him.
I think he locked his rears. That's what I thought. I also saw he locked his rears, and he kind of slid it. And then obviously, you know, it's going to slow you down, quite frankly. And George, obviously, nothing he could have done. I mean.
No, not
very
at all.
unfortunate because his pace is insane, and the way he's moved through the field from, was it last he was at, or he's right there last, if not. I mean, he's insane pace he's had.
Yeah, I do tend to agree. I think this is going to definitely twist his chances into needing a safety car. Get that wing repaired. His best bet on the medium tire at this point may genuinely be pitting early, repairing that wing, and then trying to make up the gap on a hard tire with an undercut.
Yeah, he's trying so hard to push that car as hard as he can without, you know.
Yeah, but you lose the rhythm. He's up over the curb there, of course. But, you know, if there's one thing you can't complain about, you can't say that that wasn't pretty much karmic resolution for Monaco, unfortunately, for George Knight, who got directly into the back of Xander Wiles in Monaco and took away Xander's shot at victory early. You never want to see two drivers get into it, especially over and over again, but if they do have to get into it more than once, you would hope it goes 1-1 and not 2-0.
You know, one-sided or anything, yeah. So it looks like the top two are going to most likely separate themselves here, unless Xander can find a way back into it, but I'm not too sure if he has the pace to catch back up.
Xander's driving style does tend to lead him to burn the tires, I feel, so I could expect these top two to be pulling away for sure.
Yeah, he's pretty aggressive. I think that's what obviously, you know, puts him in that position. We've seen it. I mean, we just saw he's very aggressive under braking, and that put him into his teammate. Well, that's unfortunate. That's a 3-second penalty.
He's going to have to keep his head in the game here. A lot of people are going to pick up 3 seconds in this race.
At this point, I think he's just looking at top 5 is where he just wants to stay. He doesn't want anything else, you know, to possibly go wrong. Xander misses the corner very badly.
The races that make a champion aren't necessarily always the wins. They're sometimes the recovery drives.
And what's important is that as long as he sticks in this race, I mean, we know unless something crazy happens, he's bound to get points. You know, with his top 2 competitors not being here or leaving, I mean,
exactly.
I mean, as long as he just stays and, you know, just kind of still does his own thing, he should still gain plenty of points to
Exactly. This is less of a damage limitation, more about maximizing the gap he can build here. We ride along with Mikey DeJong, who's now up to 6th. Of course, that Mercedes will be scored as a Williams. As I've mentioned now, for
scrap going on back here for ninth.
P9, 3 wide, nearly into or out of left field.
I'm wondering if they're gonna come in this time. I was thinking if 10 laps is what they're gonna push on the softs. They're still hitting each other. They're going into the corners. Oh wow! You know they did it better than Lewis and Max. I'll tell them that.
Oh, the Haas!
Oh! I must have spoke a bit too soon. Oh.
Yeah.
Hey, it's good save though. Look at that. I mean, right back on the track. No damage. It looks like possibly.
Yeah, Alexander Lopez getting pushed around in this race quite a bit. Sure, he's getting frustrated for sure. He's been knocked off.
I didn't think he was trying to make
twice.
a move either. I think he was just trying to see what those two were gonna do in front, and then I guess. Oh, I don't know if that V carb hit the McLaren going into the pits. Maybe.
Oh, they're all pitting here.
Yeah, 10 laps on the soft sounds about right. So I'd assume. So then my question is, do the mediums? Do they go for the softs? Or I mean, I don't. This is interesting to me.
This is interesting for sure.
Because we didn't really, like you said, we didn't get a real opportunity to see how the softs really play out. Oh, we got one wrecked.
Caden
He wrecked in the
McDonald
pit lane.
wrecking into the pit lane. No, was it a pit lane or was it a pit lane retirement?
Oh, you're right. It's a pit lane retirement. My fault. My fault.
Okay,
Sorry, after last week, you don't know what you're going to get.
This might be a power-related thing. Obviously, we know that he and Aiden McCarthy, living very close to one another, both driving in the midst of a cyclone right now. So, major weather event.
Off the lead.
Milan van der Linden back past Oways Kane.
So yeah, they're in a really good position here. If I don't, obviously we don't know what their pace is to each other without the DRS, like who, like, you know. But
George Knight into the pits.
that's important. That's really important.
And what we're gonna have to look for is, does he repair the wing? Does he even take the time to repair the wing? I think he's gonna have to, as they wait for a new wing. New wing on that Mercedes.
And he's going to the softs. Softs. He's going to the softs on lap 12. I mean, I see what he was, you know, get in soon, take care of it. I'm just worried about how it's gonna feel towards the end of the run.
Yeah, I think he's gonna go soft here. I'm not really sure the strategy. He may feel as if, with the gap built between P3, 4-ish where he was, and the rest, that he can manage well enough to do a 2-stop, but I don't know. You fall far enough behind, you're kind of doomed to follow the leader if you don't do something different, so this might be him trying to shake it up and get something better done, but this worries me a little bit for George Knight. I don't think he's going to be a factor in the victory here, especially when we have two drivers like Milan van der Linden and Oways Kane up here at the front, absolutely doing battle. Of course, we saw van der Linden nearly get his first career win at the Singapore Grand Prix. And he was battling with Maxim Van Averbeek.
I'm starting to realize, I'm looking at these guys running these top two, and I've only seen it with the second place driver, but it feels like the grip is starting to really go away here. Interested to see who bites first, and obviously you would assume the Williams would, right, since he's in second at the moment, but you never know. I mean, I've seen the leader react first to avoid being undercut.
You know, in all honesty, I think we'll see them go in together.
That's fair. That's fair.
The only reason I say that is because, like, DRS is so important here, right? They've got a big gap. just think I think if the Ferrari blinks first and Williams, instead of staying out, is gonna have to just kind of bite the bullet and follow him in. Whoa, Williams nearly spun it there on the curb. We were right along with him there. That was crazy. George Knight down in 10th on that soft tire. You know, it's worth mentioning, this would be Mikey's first point scoring event of the season with more than 1 point if he can kind of maintain what he's been doing in this race. His only other points finish from our previous champion, Mikey DeJong, in 6th place right now. A single point he gained earlier in the season off of a penalty of a car ad. That is how miserable this season has actually been for our past champion, Mikey DeJong. He'll be looking for something good here for him and his team. Shame about his teammate Abdulrahman Al-Hazmi. Where do we have this yellow flag? There seems to be a spin. Xander Wiles spun in the... I cannot quite remember the name of that corner, but we're about to
3 seconds faster.
We're about to figure it out. That corner that he spun in is called the loop. I had forgotten that, I'm not gonna lie. That's the corner I struggle with.
I'm trying to look them up. I'm looking up the map, trying to...
Luckily, I have a pinned track map in the F1 jet.
Oh, I see it. I remember it was sent to me earlier.
Xander Wiles might be in this time. I'll get off these old mediums. Mikey DeJong now up to 4th. Of course, not a net P4. Well, you know, it could be. After the damage from George Knight and the fact that he's going to have to pit again. Could be. Oh, no! Mikey with a 10-second speeding penalty. I thought that looked... I thought that looked a little hot going into the pits there, as we have our final Australian in the race also leave the session. One has to wonder if that's also a weather-related instance.
Gotta feel for the Aussie guys.
Yeah, not a good night for the Australian drivers. One of them not even making the race, and the other two both leaving early. Mikey DeJong, 10-second penalty. What a blow for his chances. George Knight, he'll cycle through to the lead, I reckon, with how he's been pushing that soft tire.
He was 3 seconds faster when he set that lap. He set a what was it, 127? Yeah, the leaders had set a 130 that same exact lap. So yeah, he should take over the lead here.
Yeah, but unfortunately he's going to need to take the lead and about another 20 seconds. This is not a short pit lane here.
That's right.
But if he's gaining
if
he's gaining 3 seconds a lap, it's not impossible for George Knight. It's just going to be very difficult.
Right. But hey, never say never. Quite literally, never say never. You don't know what we like. We just don't know what's going to happen. I mean, this is a big field too. I mean, one DNF on track, and I mean, I don't know if it play in his favor.
Yeah, big field. Very short.
I mean, right now it would play in his favor.
Right now it would, yeah. Safety car right now would change the whole outlook of the race for pretty much everybody, and it could happen. I mean, you never know what to expect here.
And I wonder who saved a set of softs. I'm wondering if anyone had saved an extra set. I won't be surprised if not that many did, honestly. Now that I think about it. I'm wondering when the top two will enter. I'm gonna take a game. I'm gonna take a bet and say this time. Actually, I would.
Well,
16 laps on the mediums.
The fact is, they're going on to a soft, so this has already ruined George Knight's whole plan because.
Yeah.
The fact of the matter is, if they're going on... Oh, as we see the Williams off the track hitting the DRS board, slows down to avoid taking the corner cut there, but DRS allowing him to stay involved here on the back of the Ferrari. As they both
I tell you, I would have made some money there. Oh wow, that was
Whoa! My goodness.
Talk about giving it your all entering the pits. Oh my
Yeah, that
goodness.
was a crazy pit entry from the Ferrari. Milan van der Linden locking up the fronts and then the rears headed into the pit lane.
And the Red Bull stayed out.
And here comes the Williams back out just behind the Ferrari.
Yeah. George Knight's not even gonna get close, unfortunately.
Nope, too far behind.
Oh wow, I really didn't know it was gonna be that. Jeez, I didn't know it was that bad. I'm not gonna lie.
Nope, he's looking at best, I believe, a P5 tonight. Xander Wiles
Xander
picks
with a
up a
3
time
second. That's
penalty.
important.
There's a gap forming between the Ferrari and the Williams here. Williams may have to burn ERS to stay in the DRS. And a bit of a quiet race for some of the drivers in the mid-pack here. Oliver James down in 9th. I'll tell you who hasn't had a quiet race, though. Alexander Lopez in 13th.
You know, I won't be surprised if something else happens to him.
As I
I'm not
said
gonna
that,
lie.
he just got bumped from the Alpine behind, so yeah, this is definitely just the type of race he's having, I think.
He's just got a target on him.
He's
Unfortunately,
getting
he's
pushed
just got a
around.
target all over
I
him.
feel bad for him, honestly. He's just getting absolutely just knocked about every time he's near another car. It's craziness.
Is this his first race this season, or just in
Third,
general?
I
Or
believe.
third?
Yeah, he was at Monaco, I remember that one. And he was at Spain last week as well.
Oh, how did I miss out? Sometimes you don't remember some stuff. All right. Oh, Red Bull's in. There you go. I think that's the last of them, right?
Yeah, Alan Edmiston into the pits. He's the last taker here. And he'll come out just behind this pack of 4. Actually, kind of within the pack of 4, if we're being honest. Just ahead of Jamie Cavanini, who peeks to the inside.
Oh, Oliver James. Oh, wow. That's... Didn't give him much room. But then again, I guess he was entitled to cut him off right there.
Arvin Whitaker once again missing a piece of his wing.
Oh, is that the V-carb?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's... Yeah,
once.
he got... Yeah, he got cut right there by Oliver. Oliver just didn't give him really much room to... You know, put him on... He put him on the curb. And... You know, he jumped into him, so that's unfortunate.
Speaking of unfortunate, we have Alexander Lopez here getting worked on by Finn Baker, losing another position. Ryan Messer just behind that, 0.8 seconds. Ryan Messer, a P2 finisher from Monaco, significant result for him.
Yeah, I don't know. I wonder if Ryan is he gonna do it. I wonder if he's got to be doing a 2-stop, Ryan, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, there's no way he's gonna make it that
Oh,
far. We got a
Pro
yellow.
Ultra 7, another yellow flag. He's dropped another position as we have a VSC.
Oh, it's a virtual.
VSC, the wing is missing from...
Entire wing.
Yeah, the entire front wing
Yeah, sure
is
looked like he was
gone.
driving like it.
He's into the pit here.
Oh, he's just speeding. I think he's done for the day. There you go. Yeah.
He's had enough.
Well, more points for others, or one more person.
Yeah, I
Good
got
team's
a
10.
feel for him though. He had a really promising start to this race, and it's just completely fallen apart for him. This would be a
Yeah, just
perfect
the
time for
racing's
George Knight to
interesting.
come in and get that second set of tires, but I think he was already past the pits at the time.
He was. It
Or he
was
might
that,
be, at this point, he might be trying to take the soft to the end.
I think he should at this rate. I mean,
I don't know if he can,
this
but
sucks. Oh, drive-through penalty for
Sean Reeves.
who was that? Sean? Nah. Man, the Hosses are not having a good one.
Not today.
It looks like Mick Schumacher and Nikita Mazepin's in the cars tonight.
I wouldn't go that far.
Okay, won't go that far. Maybe not with Nikita, not Mazepin. Mick was he was nice with it, right? I thought he was.
Not bad.
This little train. Oh, there's Shirley's. Oh, man.
Xander Wiles, P5. What a battle we have going on here. George Knight, or
Two
sorry,
by two.
Mikey DeJong here, down to 8th, falling back the pack a little bit.
Oh.
They're side by side getting into one another here.
That was Mikey and Jamie getting together, wasn't it? Yes,
It was indeed.
Great racing though throughout the top, just the entire field really. I mean,
Yeah.
there's some really great racing.
And only one VSC so far.
Oh, the Alpine in the back. Wow, those two got together. The Alpine and the other Aston Martin on exit. It looked like they both might have been heading for the outside wall at one point.
You see Sean Reese peel into the pit here.
Oh, the Haas has been spun by the Alpine.
Again, Alexander Lopez spun.
I tell you, he doesn't get paid. No one here gets paid, but man, he should. He's been just trying to mind his business, quite honestly.
That's tough for him. Oh my goodness. I can't understand that. How somebody can be so unlucky throughout a race. Alan Edmiston.
Oh, that's huge for George. That's actually really huge for George. That means Alan has to actually pass George Knight, right? Because they both had 3 seconds, I believe.
That is correct. Xander Wiles also with a 3-second. The Sakir driver also with a 3-second. The only one in this pack without a 3-second penalty, Jamie Cavanini. And it's worth mentioning, Mikey DeJong, 10 seconds of penalties in P8 right now. A small gap still between Milan van der Linden and the Williams of Aways Kane. Just out of DRS reach, we see that gap kind of hover around 1.2 near the end of this race.
Yeah, they're both burning, so to say. Yeah, they're under 20%, so I mean they both know what needs to be done for each other. And it looks like the Ferrari is mastered having the Williams stay out of DRS range with that late push he had before Beckett's. There you go, my fault. I'm looking at the map, I'm sorry. I'm trying to understand it. I should have known that one. That's a famous one. That's sad.
Sauber.
Sorry,
the Alpine side by side and the side of the Aston Martin here. These two absolutely going at it. They're bashing wheels here. Bashing wheels again. They're losing time. There's end plates missing. What is going on here? Mikey DeJong taking advantage. What has happened?
He says, thank you very much, gentlemen. Just how much room was given for exit, and then I guess neither wanted to give. They just wanted to stay in it, right? And it ultimately costing them both.
I could not quite tell what happened there. I know when there's a car like that close on your side, it's sometimes hard to not wash wide into that person, but no idea what actually went on there. As we kind of get a look at what's going on now again. I mean, if it happens again, we'll have a common offender here, but
yeah. I mean, it looked like he was holding Mikey pretty tight there anyways in that corner. I don't know. At least on entry he was.
We're just taking a look here now, seeing what we can see. Jamie Cavanini not going to play a factor in this battle for the 3rd position now by the look of it.
I think Milan, just in general, has the overall best car, especially on the long run. It looks like his car isn't fishtailing or anything when it was in the later part of that medium stint compared to the Williams.
I think without the damage, George Knight wins this race, but
oh, no doubt.
It is a part of racing, though.
Now, what happened to him to start that far back? Did he not get a time in, or did he have to serve a qualifying penalty?
He
What
was
was?
trying to get a time in, but didn't leave himself enough space between him and Mikey. Caught Mikey and then got some
Oh,
wash through a stow, and then ran wide and aborted his lap.
gotcha. Well, I mean, yeah, it kind of. I guess mistakes you make in qualifying can put you in a bad position in the race. I mean,
Yeah.
so yeah, he made his way up, but he still had to go through a bunch of people and ultimately wouldn't have started where he usually starts. So, but still, he's gonna get great points, and that's what matters, right? I mean, that's what we talked about,
Absolutely.
just getting the points.
What is worth mentioning as well, as we head into the final couple laps of this race, Lewis Huchin in P11, very close to picking up that first point.
And all he has to do is really ride here behind this Red Bull. This is the Red Bull that came in quite early on in the race.
And you can tell he's struggling on that hard tire based on how all over the place the rear end was there from the onboard camera. The Aston Martin now in the DRS. He's on a soft tire. He'll be trying so hard to make this work. The gap now up to 2 seconds between Milan van der Linden in the lead and away is Kane. We have a Sector 2 yellow. The Sauber of Ryan Messer has spun out. He's backwards on the track trying to get going here. Only a couple laps remaining here. Ryan Messer will not be getting points today. Milan van der Linden still leading the pack here by about 2 seconds. The lead between George Knight and Alan Edmiston. George Knight on a very, very old soft tire. Just hanging on here. Trying to hold on to this P3 position. Alan Edmiston catching little by little. Xander Wiles just back from that as well. He's fallen away from Alan Edmiston. Edmiston having a quietly quick race here.
All things considered, yeah. He had the damage on his end plate, did he? Or was he one of them? There's a lot of them that had damage on their end plate.
Honestly, there's so many people with end plates missing, I can't quite remember.
No, he didn't. He didn't. I got him confused with someone else.
Around the outside, the Sauber sweeps around the Alpine of Sakir sweeps around Mikey de Jong for P6. Take a look now. Lewis Huchin has made it past Dylan Boston for P10. The drivers have all kind of spread out a little here in the top 10. Not a lot going on here in the final stages of this race, but to be expected when you get this long into a race. 2.3 seconds now between Milan van der Linden and Owais Kane. Alpine just sticking with Mikey de Jong here. Kane Woods here in P7 now peaking to the outside of Mikey de Jong with DRS. Speaking of that, Lewis Huchin has broken DRS for Dylan Boston. We're on the final lap of this race. One more lap.
Took him 3 seconds too of Oliver James. They should get 9th actually.
That's true as well. One more lap of this race left. We have Milan van der Linden rounding left field here. Nearly 3 second lead at this point as Abdul Rahman Al Hazmi falls a position to Alexander Lopez for P13. Now gets it back. They're side by side. But it's just for bragging rights at this point for these two. Through Maggots, through Beckett's, and through Chapel. Down the hanger straight, Milan van der Linden looking for his first career victory in ARC Formula 1. He leads by 3 seconds. Just going wide there. Can you imagine a time penalty? He certainly could have, but he didn't. He rounds the Vale chicane, now coming around Club. He'll pull to the inside past the line, celebrate with the crew. This is his first career ARC Formula 1 victory, and what a victory it was. Absolutely the car to beat in this race. George Knight coming along here in P3 to round out the podium. He'll hang on over Alan Edmiston. P5, Xander Wiles. P6 will be Mikey De Jong, but it will not hold to Kane Woods. Jamie Cavallini popping up into P6. Oliver James now coming around the final corner. He'll hold on to P9 just over Lewis Huchin, who finishes P10 by 0.3 of a second. Finn Baker 11th, Dylan Boston 12th, both just out of the points. Alexander Lopez not to the chicane yet. He's had an eventful race. Coming around Club here. He'll be happy to see this finish with a spin. Ryan Messer now. Ryan Messer now through the chicane, also P15. He'll be ahead of Sean Reese in P16. And then the computer car Logan Taylor. He'll be scored 18th as he's not returned, behind Arvin Whitaker. What a race win for Milan van der Linden. What a drive from the Ferrari driver. Truly, truly an incredible drive from him to take his first career victory. And he just dominated that last stint once he got the DRS, using it to an expert level to hold that gap to 1 second, then eventually breaking it entirely and not even having to worry about it. What a job.
Yeah, like you said, I think that pit stops, they're really important. Even when they went in together, he just got a better go on the softs there that lap and was able to start to get, build a second gap. And then, from there on, he kind of managed the pace or managed the gap, excuse me, and kind of just did his own thing for the rest of it. But
yeah,
shout out to George
sure.
Knight, man. I mean, I'm telling you. Even with the changed wing and all that, and coming in early and risking maybe not making it on those softs, that's very big championship-wise for him.
Yeah, absolutely. Now we'll work on getting some people in here for interviews. Milan van der Linden, of course, will be looking for his interview as well. We'll try and get SSB in for his. Third on the podium, George Knight. Looking for his as well. And now we wait. We wait for our drivers in the Discord server now. In the waiting room. First, we'll be talking to George Knight in P3. Starts from P20, didn't get a lap in, all the way to the podium. Lost part of a wing, still managed that podium position. What was on the table for you without the problems tonight? Was it a win?
Oh, 100%. I mean, I was in the fight for the win after, 5 laps, but Panda decided that wasn't going to happen. Had to get his little mates a win. And he didn't go about it the right way. Game's the game. Managed the tyres really well. Got the podium. And good points in the championship, but not the race you want to have at the end of the day. I mean, I think it's just a bit of a shame that had to go like that. Getting wing damage felt like a pretty early braking from Panda. I mean, he often complained about us, um, like blocking him or whatever. And all he's been doing recently is, I don't know, taking us out, driving dirty. I mean, he took out Jamie twice today, both of which seemed like pretty dodgy incidents, if I'm being honest. So, I mean, the race was, I mean, it was where it was, you know what I mean? But obviously it's not the way I wanted to go. But 23rd is a great drive, but 20 to 1 is would have been even better, which I think if his mates drive anything like he does, probably would have been a pretty free win, to be honest.
Some strong words here from George Knight. Disappointment in your voice from not getting that victory, but also frustration we can hear there. On the other hand of things, still gained 15 points over Cameron Lopez, over Maxime Van Averbeek as well. Both of these drivers, your championship rivals, now you get a 16-point lead. That must feel nice in the championship. 7 rounds in, 9 to go.
Yeah, it does, but I mean, not a lot is feeling good right now. I mean, I'm here to win races, win another championship, which is looking pretty decent right now. But I'm here to win races, not just to finish third every race and pick up another championship. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get what you're saying for sure. Always nice to cap off the championship with more victories than whatnot. But I'd trade victories for a championship, no questions. With that said, any questions, Stotts?
Just one. Were you confident when you made that early stop to go on the softs on lap 12? Were you confident you were going to make it to the end there?
I mean, I have faith in myself to pull out the bag what I need to. I think that my tyres were on high tyre wear at the end, but I had faith in myself. If I didn't make that stop when I did, there was no way I was getting a podium. I think I did exactly the right thing. If I made a pit stop on any other lap, I think I either would have got a puncture if I pitted earlier, or I would have just not been in the position I finished in if I pitted one lap later.
My final question is just kind of what happened in qualifying?
So, to be honest, my good friend, who is, I guess in Ark he's known as Maxim Van Averbeek, but I mean I know him as Tetchaby. We decided that we were gonna have a little bit of fun, that we were gonna do a last first challenge, which is why I didn't. Well, my last lap I sort of wanted to see what I could set, but invalidating of course, and then I just bottled it anyway and spun off the road at the end of my qualifying lap. But yeah, I wanted to do a last first, so that's what happened.
I suppose that is ultimately the. I mean, with that said, you think do you think you're going to be trying that in the future now with the points gap the way it is, or?
I mean, I think it depends on the track, depends what's happening. I mean, if it's a bad track for me, probably not. If it's a good track for me, then potentially. I mean, it would have been extremely fun if I could have finished the race I wanted to finish it. But yeah, I mean, the first 5-6 laps were brilliant, so potentially.
Yeah, I suppose. Anyway, I will call that a good race from you. Um, I think that's pretty much all the questions we have. We're waiting for more interviews, but I don't think we're going to get them today. So I guess we'll just kind of make our way to ending the stream.
Alright, thank you.
Yeah, you have a good one, George.
Have a good night, sir.
Yeah, you too.
Okay, yeah, I guess this is it. I don't think we're going to see interviews from our top 2 drivers, sadly.
Such a shame, honestly.
We may have to look at mandating some sort of interview for the top 3 for a rule, because it does make it slightly difficult to, you know, keep track of storylines and stuff when we have no interviews from the winners, and just because they don't feel like it at that. With that said, I guess that's the race. I'm kind of thrown out of my rhythm here. I don't. You can probably tell, Stotts, because I feel like I was waiting for the interviews, and now I got to prep the
Oh
ending
yeah.
here.
Yeah, I was waiting for the other two, and while we were talking to George, I kept popping in, trying to see if they was just chilling in the waiting
That's
room.
kind of what I was
Oh,
doing
nothing.
too, and yeah. Anyway, I guess we can end it here. Um, this has been Matthew Stotts and AJ Knickel at the ARC Formula One British Grand Prix of 2025A, 7th round of the season. We will see you guys next week from the Red Bull Ring. If you want to pop in tomorrow, we have ARC GT3 World Challenge Racing from, I can't remember.
Oh, that's quite sad, you know.
Yeah, I know. From I can't remember. We have ARC GT3 Racing from the Spa 1.2 hours tomorrow. That'll be a fun one. And on top of that, Sunday night, we are visiting Watkins Glen for the 60 minutes of the Glen in the Arc Endurance Championship. That'll be commentated by Riker Lummel, and the previous, the GT World Challenge, will be commentated by Jackson Lambra. So tune in on our YouTube channel. You can check that stuff out. Really good racing in both of those events. And we will catch you guys next week from the Red Bull Ring. Goodbye.